Hello and welcome to another gameplay review on the Virkayu gameplay channel, and in this one we have Lee Sin with his buffs. That's right, minimum damage and maximum damage on that Q2 plus Q1, bonus AD ratio increase, 5% on the Q1 and then of course 5% on Q2, but the maximum has a 10% bonus AD buff. Now, the idea behind that is to basically say, hey, mid to late game, we want to give you a little bit extra juice so you're a little bit more relevant because you weren't ready to so shit. And you know what? We all agree. At the same time, most of us know, who know good Lee Sin players, that Eclipse is such a good smurfing item. It's also very good when you have huge leads early. Raptors, Red, Krugs. Looking at the top lane, Syndra versus Nico. Bottom lane is Xayah, Blitzcrank versus Kai'Sa, Rell, who also just got realigned yet again for like the third or fourth patch in a row. What that also means though, and this is what people they kind of just see right, say late game, and they don't understand that bonus AD ratios, whenever you apply them, means with itemization, you become so much bigger. Your snowball becomes so much better. And while 5% is not enough when you just put it in your hands and look at it, and when you're hitting that Q reliably, those hits really do count. Now, when they buff base damage, it increases your early clear. It increases your early skirmishing. Yeah, you're still strong with minimal itemization, of course, because it's percentage, you're not having a lot of itemization overall, right? Or power spikes overall, you know, increase your 5% AD, it's not going to do as much as just beefing up the base AD by 5%, but it means with every longsword, every dirk, every eclipse, every gold drink, every black cleaver, you're doing a lot more than you used to. So the win rate so far is about a 1.5% dip. Currently we have the Lee Sin, as we're talking about all of this stuff, do a beautiful World Harp Flash Giga kill. That that E slow is really primed. If you want to see fluid, beautiful mechanics from T1 Honor, I uploaded a video on Saturday, I'll leave a link below, to exquisite Lee Sin early game Savant gaming. With the buff, you are really going to want to watch that because it showcases exactly how to deconstruct in a way that we can't really do when we're doing a full gameplay, but just so you know, the mechanics from that video will show you the power of a Q buff in that nature. Now, we do have here the Viego doing what I hate when Viegos do, which is, hey, I full cleared and crabbed, and the Lee Sin now basically did the Raptors Red Krugs and says, nothing, okay. And of course, if you want to come out ahead, we have delayed the bootcamp. It is now starting at the beginning of Split 2, a completely revamped bootcamp curriculum from Gozu Academy, as well as Virkayu.gg, Coach Kaibit, and myself, explaining to you exactly how to play jungle and all roles so that you become the total player, the player's player. Early game to mid game to late game, from jungling to lane to teamfighting, all classes, all roles, all specifically designed to help you grow and climb as fast as possible. I will also be giving away 10 jungle video courses from my website to 10 lucky bootcampers. The link is in the description below, and I hope to see you all there. Now, there's a possibility that the Lee Sin will be invaded by the Viego, but we're not really focused on that as being like a main storyline, are we? Because that's that's a Talon and a Shaco and things like that are going to do that. So he does go down to the Wolves. He sees this low HP ADC and says, "Let me destroy you," which of course he does. Now what he does is he falls back to his blue camp, and we're going to go up to this Raptor camp here. We've taken the bottom scuttle as well. The reason for this is we want to ensure that we're guaranteed our second spawn camps, right, to maximize that experience. But the downside to that, from my perspective, is that we kind of know the Viego didn't start, say he went leashless, he didn't really start on the top side because he would have been there for our crab, he would have been there for the gank, and so on. He would have been able to react to it and show in some capacity. And of course, if they are leashed and you know it, then you know that he's going from here to here, right? And therefore, what that means is, as we pause, this camp will respawn at your 4-minute 20. This will respawn at around your 4-minute 40, 4:35 to 4:45. So, is the Viego gonna do this full clear scuttle, go back to base, then go back to the top side to steal your Raptors? I don't think he's gonna do that. And so here is where you really want to focus on, why do we leave this Grump behind? There's no real reason to leave our Grump behind, because as you can see from the Viego's perspective, right, which is going to quickly time jump here, he's doing this, he's going leashless, right? You're doing this, you see this, you're like, okay, cool, I'm leashless as well. But when no one shows up when you do this at 322, no rotation at all, no E-Cloud or whatsoever, the Viego should be showing up, right? As you can see, he's just finished his full clear, red side to blue side, and a Viego can go quite fast from blue side to red side as well, so he should be here when we're doing this. He isn't. We go for this. He doesn't show up. This means, right, that even if you presuppose that the guy, did start on the top side, came to the bottom side, he's not going to go and steal your Raptors, right? Because you still have time to do this, float on up, shadow the scenario. You've got the ward here for protection as well for another 21 seconds. I don't think you're going to see the guy go from here to here, give up the scuttle, go back to base, go topside scuttle directly, and then go straight for your Raptors. But I do get where he's thinking. Like, that's what he's doing here. He's like, okay, look, I'm going to do the blue, get that buff, haste is juicy, energy regeneration, yada, yada. But, well, you know, but this is the thing that's respawning, and I'm worried the Viega's going to be showing up here, taking this and going straight for this. So he wants to protect it. But at the same time, I don't really feel like that's necessarily a fight you want to take anyway. I mean, look, the Nico's not going to shove this and rotate with the Viego to fight you over it. I don't foresee that being an issue. We do have the TP here, the Blitz can't roam. It's too many question marks, you know what I mean? So I do feel like we could have done the Grom quite easily. We're obviously showing up to make sure this is gone. At this point, we know he started bot side and he's going bottom to top side. That's standard stuff. We'll go back to base now and spend our gold, 1,500, 1,600 in pocket. And now we can go straight down to the bottom side here, and we have a respawn of the wolves. We have the Grump up. Sure, you know, people can argue, hey, by leaving the Grump up now you've got two camps. Yeah, well, I mean, I'd still prefer having the wolf camp by themselves, go do some cool stuff, and then have the second spawn of the croc camp. The Viego shows, oh, so this is, oh, he is showing now. I got fooled by the own Nico. I mean, because in replays, you try to explain, look at the camera, and you're really using peripheral vision to get as much information, and it just gleamed the Viego portrait, and was the Nico, of course. But this is great. This is expected. I don't know why she's pinging like this. You know, why is the Syndra pinging this right here? I mean, if this is the Syndra pinging it, saying, where's my jungler? Why don't you help me? Well, but the Viego does this, which we categorically know is factual now, because when the Lee Sin hits his Grise Bloom, you get the timer on this, and the RNG Scuttle is going to be spawning as per regular time frames, slightly delayed, because Lee Sin got one, Viego got one, all right? You know the guy's going to sequence all the way up here, and when he doesn't show here, he's either going to loop back down like he does and do something about this, or he's going to effectively go back to base and do the same thing, because he wants to get that level 6 spike gank on the Nico, especially versus Syndra. So Syndra should not be surprised, Lee Sin should not be surprised, no one should be surprised. What I'm surprised about, though, is that the Viego didn't go Wolves Gromp Blue on his first clear for good sequencing, which means that his Gromp is now in isolation by itself. So we know the Viego showed up down here, this deep vision here from the prior that the blue team has, which is going to hit that Q. We do have bonus 80 ratios now on that Q, Q1, Q2. We are forced to leave, though, unfortunately. Purely because, obviously, we have the Viego here getting this. We've got the Nico pushing us out here. They've got Prio here. And this is very similar to some content that's flying around, isn't there? People have asked my opinion on that. I may tickle a fancy at making something on that on the main channel, but yeah, it's very interesting because you've got to play the game, right? Look at this. You've got to play the game here. Why would Lee Sin even go for this at all? Let's crank once to base. Yeah, they're going to shove, and they're choosing to lose minions here by fighting this dragon. Okay, so let's set it up a little bit here. Yes, they're going to push out as much as they can. They do have an itemization deficit, right? They're at 1,000 a pocket versus 500. Obviously, blue team has more spent, which is important, right? More spent. Kaiser's 2.1, Zaya's 2.3, but Zaya's 1k in pocket. So she's only spent 1,300, whereas Kaiser has spent 1,600. That does affect your DPS a little bit. The most important thing is this right here. If you go for this fight, even with mid-prio, yes, Anika rotated further, yes, Anika still has in pocket. The issue is, all the four-man team has to do here, the four-stack team has to do is pick a side. Do we just 4v2 the Syndra versus Lee Sin, or do we 4v2 the level 5 Blitzcrank and Zaya? I would probably 4v2 the squishies, who have no sums, who have no ultimates, and we get a kill. So let's have a look to see what happens. Blue team makes the right trigger pull. Just engage, flash, stun, kill that hook, you know, elevated ground. It's pointless. So now you can say, well, we were forcing them to miss stuff. Really? It's a challenger game. What? They just got kills, you know, now they get the shove anyway. They'll try and get a plate here, obviously. Increased minion speed does affect you. So in this case, because Anika rotated first, and because bot had prio, and their blue team wasn't basing, important difference, right? It's not the same situation at all, but it's such an important concept to think about. When do I go for a dragon versus when do I not go for a dragon? And it's a fusion of jungle tracking, your strength, their strength, level 6 spikes, lane of priors, slow pushes, who's basing, who isn't. It all adds together. And you saw it right here, and Lisa was trying to force it a little bit too much, whereas we could have just cut through and done some camps. Maybe we could have dove top lane if it was available. Eyes up, have a look to see if it is. Maybe we could just go do some counter jungling and then dive top lane. Have a look to see if it is. And worst case scenario, you just lose the dragon. But you could definitely loop back up, take all your camps, so cut in here, duelist. You got this crab too. There's stuff you can do. Farm, secure, rather than posturing so much. It's good to posture in the right scenarios, but in this particular case, you're kind of playing with fire because you got 2, 2, and 4 in the middle. The 4 in the middle have all the power. They just call the turn and that's it. So it's really interesting. It's not always the same. They're always very different, and the champions and the atomization spikes all play into it. Always. And if the Lee Sin absolutely decimates the Viego 1v1 in this moment, right? He can very, very, very easily try and create that prior before the dragon setup. The difference here was there was no setup at all. We were just reacting to it. So, yeah. 2 cents on this situation. This has got nothing to do with any other situation going on. It's only about this one. Now, obviously we see that we have to give up that Herald, which means Rel had rotated up to secure that because they knew Lee Sin was going to the top side. So Lee Sin says, I'm gonna go down to the bottom side. Kill that ADC. Now I can take the dragon very, very quickly. True. So even though we denied the dragon, you know, I don't know if they don't really lose much and they just get a free kill in the ADC. I don't know if that's always worth, you know, just because they didn't get the dragon, but this is a good read here now from the Lee Sin. Took what we could neutral-wise in terms of the crab and obviously pushing up. The Nico's floating on here just to make sure we can kind of see what's going on. We have the ward down. Kais is going to get back into lane. We've got a blue side all respawning up. The Viego's going to do this blue side quadrant here. Warded up the house, up top lane here. Yeah. See, now we know the Viego will be coming down. And yes, we have 1,500 in pocket again. And again, he hasn't spent as much gold, but this is where that 80 ratio buff is nice. It's small, right? Especially as we rank it up, it gets obviously a lot bigger. Is that even in this moment, he is getting a little bit more juice for his gold spend. Again, it's minuscule at this stage, but he can very easily shadow, look, observe. Unfortunately, Blitzcrank has gone mid lane, knowing the Viega's going down to the bottom side. Rel's going to roam again, knowing this. Lee Sin's like, I'm doing my quadrant, we have no ADC, we have to wait for Zai to show up. And Blitzcrank just caught out. Good play by the Viego, because even if you might not want to go for this as Viego, if you see the Rel, you're tracking properly, you know that Lee Sin's falling back to his blue side quadrant. He hasn't reset in a while because you keep pressing tab to track his atomization. Free kill. So we're going to try again as a Viego here. Nice active early game from the Viego. Forces the flash there. Rel's going to go back in here. We'll get the ult for the slow. Nico says, thank you so much. And, excuse me. Timers are blocking my map movements. Lee Sin's relaxed. Lee Sin's relaxed because, again, a little stronger later, a little bit better on the snowball. We finished our mythic. Blitzcrank's holding here. Herald will go for the cash money gold. We can hold this. He's really not had a lot of action this game, the Lee Sin. He's tried, he's looked, but the map just hasn't given him anything. That's where it's very important. You just missed your cue. Just missed your cue. I mean, at this point, you're arguing, what's he doing? Well, if you think that this is gone, or if the Viego went from top to bottom, which we know, and of course we see him down here, so that's a given. We know that these camps will be respawning shortly because of the internal clock. So basically, you can just ward to make sure that we can track him and obviously see the camp's uptime. Also, we get to go around and see, can we do something to Renekton? Problem is, it really ain't got no mana. So now we're like, well, I guess I just better go and do a Gromp. This is a great example of how can I carry a game where I'm really trying to do stuff, but my laners are throwing out duds against the Viego. No one's really inherently winning hard. I mean, it really is technically winning hardcore by elo metrics, but no stun. Can we tank it a little bit here? We obviously have the use of the W. Nice ward up into the kick against the wall for the Q execute. Remember, that does mega damage the more missing HP there is. In case people don't understand what I mean, because sometimes they don't. You see there, targets missing health. That means that's actually why a lot of Lee Sins early, if they do these kind of invades, and they actually end up getting a leash, or they want a leash, but an invade happens, and they're forced to use their Q, and then they have to start on the buff by themselves. They'll smite it initially, before they use the Q at all, just to make sure they get the better damage for the farming. Just like you would do on Echo, right? Because of the W. You would just smite the Grump first. Missing HP is a great thing. So now basically, nice dive, finally used, get the turret, push this wave up. We got the Grump as well. The Viego at this particular stage is going to be showing on the vision here that we have. Nice deep vision. Rel shows up on this vision. We have this RNG scuttle on the bottom side. Total gold, 5.2 for Lee Sin, 4.8 for the Viego. We're doing our wolves. We see this hook. We're going to rotate over to it. Cooldown on hook at the moment is still pretty high. Yeah, 15.81. Whew. Couldn't remember if it was 12. Higher than 12. Sometimes the cooldowns in this game. Some champions seem to have a lot of them. And other champions seem to not have a lot of them. In this particular stage, fortunately, the plates are dying in a minute. And the Herald's already gone. So we don't have to worry too much. But again, it's not much for us to do. The dragon's spawning. There's vision control here. There's no camps here. There's no camps here other than the red. We've got red raptors. This is where you skirmish, shadow, float, counter gank, lane gank, invest some time, get us into the mid game because your full clear sequences are so efficient at this stage. Pretty easy to create some downtime for yourself. This is what Karthus feels like after the first clear. What it feels like, at least. Goes at, well, from outside eyes. Guy always has so much time to do stuff. Now we're doing safe pathing here, just in case of pushing up here. We know there's going to be a lot of vision, so we're going to go around the vision. As always, if you know there's vision here, don't walk through it, go around where there isn't vision and get a better flanking angle. I thought that was kind of basic, but recent events have shown that some people don't understand that. Obviously here, there's no vision granted unless you walk on this. You can go off the wall and just straight up do this when it's up. We'll just invest the time. Aurelia's rotating over. She'll show. Doesn't really matter. Nothing they can do about it. Rel's top side, warding the Raptors. Guy's doing his blue in the Grom. So yeah, the top lane invest is absolutely huge here because it allows the Aurelia to roam. The chess pieces can start moving. That's why even when you're struggling to get that one game, that one gank, that one event that allows you to just snowball a game, sometimes you got to be super patient. Pick the kill where you can, get the camps that you can, get the objectives that you can, and just don't die. Because when you're not dying stupidly, even if you're posturing on dragons where you think maybe this is not great, but we can see, as long as you don't die, you can go do other things in the meantime, like take your whole red side. Yeah, you give up the Herald, but we just looped back into the dragon, didn't we? That kind of mentality is super big on Lee Sin. Yep, mobility, please. Safeguard into a Q guard, into a red buff. Now they're going to chase us deep. Rel goes all the way in with the ult. Lee Sin's going to try and go do his thing as well, but unfortunately, this is not a 2v2 because the Syndra rotates first. Can we get kills here? Nika's showing up as well. Renekton is... he was a weird color for a second. Yeah, only Viego dies because I went a little too ham here. Trying to wait for that Renekton ult to time out before we take the Q, obviously. Full Fury ulting Renekton. Really showcases herself. Says, hello! See? It's not just me. It's not just me who gets fooled by that infernal clone all the time. We're taking turret aggro there. Aurelia, Lee Sin's going to try and save you. Doesn't do it, but of course, hook into the Blitzcrank. Mega Silence plus Lee Sin is always a good one. Hit that Q. Force out the flash. Reposition. Herald activation. Nice secure as well. See that second Herald again doing a lot of cool stuff for us. A lot of cool stuff for us. See this thing? I can't remember where it was. Did they buff the slow? Am I imagining it was recent memory? I don't know. Sometimes I remember buffs that happened 4 years ago, and I'm like, that was a good buff. Like the Echo buff, Season 9, August, before Worlds. Buff to his stun, 2.25 seconds flat on the W, and the bonus damage to monsters. Because he was useless for 2 years. Like, literally could not jungle it. Buffed it, and ever since then, great solo queue pick, great champion domain, and was like 1-9 at Worlds in Season 9. Everyone thought, hey, they buffed Echo Jungle, let's use it. Turns out it was just a better solo queue pick, but mostly no one had any idea how to draft comps to set up the W hit properly, so. C'est la vie, as it were. That being said, Gold Drinker, Black Cleaver purchase, we're now at the super item spec of 7.2 thousand gold. Boots of speed granted to us because it's Korea, that's what we do. So now basically you're looking at it and going, well, this is not a super high carry game. No, not yet. But we have to ensure that the message sent to you, I have to ensure that the message sent to you in these situations is you're not carrying until you are carrying. And if you take yourself out of contention to carry because you are impatient, you will never carry. You follow the meaning there? Here we go. Oh, that's where Gold Drink is absolutely massive against it. Oh my goodness gracious, Aurelia is doing Cassante. Or is Cassante doing Aurelia? More like it. Well then. There you go. Force the engage. Make sure you can reposition as well. If your team follows up, free W. That's why Gold Drink is so good with Black Flavor, right? That's why that right there, that moment That's what makes Lee Sin so good with this build. You did it with Eclipse, you probably just get blown up. You don't get the heal, you're a lot more squishy, sure you have the damage, but against a Viego, a Renekton, a Rel, you want that Gold Drinker, trust me, you really, really, really do, because you can still one-shot ADCs when they're out of position. Huge though, absolutely huge, using his built-in lifesteal, his heal, his shield, his slows, percentage damage, his kick, and then of course his safeguard to safety right here. Safeguard Iron Will. Iron Will's the one that no one really talks about. I had to animate that for the video on the main channel. Because I specifically thought if I just put W and Q and E, people are just going to think he's just pressing buttons. So I made sure to put the Iron Will. I don't understand this. I don't understand how people continually push beyond vision lines for 13 years and then die when there's no objective on the map. Like, sure, we should be here, but now they're just going to collapse on the Xayah because Syndra wasn't in the picture, Blitzcrank's not in the picture. Now you just farm your camps, you ward up a little bit, and you just don't put yourself in a bad situation. Right? It's not difficult. Rel's going to try and get a movement speed proc here to go in. Xayah's going to use her ult. The Blitzcrank, beautiful counter engage with that hook. W missed by the Viego. Nice scout of the week onto the Nico to keep her ult from engaging. Beautiful CC spells being used by the red team here. Exquisitely timed. Just decimating the blue team's positioning. They thought they had the numbers. There you go. That's it. Gold Drinker to finish. As we like. Hit the Q2 again. Not going to take that one. Oof, that was smooth. But it's so unassuming. 804. What a strong carry him and the Blitzcrank are doing at this point. But he is going to have 83% KP. He's just been everywhere. The Lee Sin. So much to be said for just playing the map patiently. Anyway, the second proc of the W giving the second proc of the W giving you that life steal. Iron Will. Super huge. Anyway, that's enough of that. Let's go back to base here, spend our cash money gold. Oh my goodness gracious, way too quickly on the mouse there, and it wouldn't let me correct my timer. So once more, they realize out of position. They're trying to maybe pull a sneaky Baron. The Lee Sin says, nope, I now have stopwatch, I have Merc Treads, you're not going to kill me. Beautiful scout of the week again. Hits the Q, goes back in, gets a safeguard for the peel, and that's the beauty about it. You can engage, do a lot of damage. You can hit your slows, you get your damage, you get your vamp, and then you can safeguard out to protect your team from their assassins of their dive, and then you just clean them up. And Fluid Lee Sin is just beautiful at that. And obviously, the Gold Drinker now, 879 on the damage, healing 763, and you're saying, well, that's not huge. All of it was meaningful in the fights that he used it, and that's the most important thing. 3 Baron. Nico's alive. Not doing much. We'll snack that baby up. Make sure you have the smite ready if you want to guarantee things and not troll things. If there's an Ezreal and you're trolling like that, and you lose it, please don't do that. Please do not do that. Sneaker Grump, I like this. Finish the Baron, don't have any cash money gold, go back in. The stopwatch being burned is exactly why we buy it, right? We buy the stopwatch to avoid any sort of random events that might occur for us. It's fine. We have smite, we have E, we had everything up again. Low cooldowns at this particular stage. The Nico also thought her stopwatch would help her. It did not. And now we are truly 1v90 because no one can deal with us. Oh, hello, Viego. We do not have kicker in 30 seconds. We will. Kaiser's going to try and proc us. We're trying to get over the wall here. Beautiful flash. Miss the Q to go back in. Safeguard to the Blitzcrank. Sit behind the Syndra. Hits another beautiful scout of the week. Total cleanup by the Xayah. Total cleanup by everybody else. Nice team rotation. Nice play. A little risky for us. But beautiful Lee Sin play. Excellent jungle play. I hope you enjoyed and learned something. Virkayu GG for your courses. Sale going on until midnight Saturday. I believe 25% off. Code below, bootcamp tickets below, and as always, I will see you all in the next one.